Hello, everybody. I'm Vikram Anbargan. I head product management for all our language services at AWS Machine Learning. Thank you all for coming. Especially, it's the last session of the day, so thanks for being here. Today, we're going to talk about how you can create interactive applications with intelligent language services on AWS. And before I dive in, I want to give you a little bit of background about machine learning at Amazon. Right? So we've been investing in machine learning over the last 20 years, and everything from our fulfillment and logistics to search and discovery to existing products, as well as innovating on new products like the Alexa. And as a result of that, today we have a suite of AI services ready for all you folks to use as part of the AWS ecosystem. And our mission here at AWS Machine Learning is to put machine learning in the hands of every developer and data scientist. No matter what your skill level, even if you don't know what machine learning is, we want you to be able to get the benefits of using machine learning. So at AWS, we look at our entire stack in terms of 3 layers, right? So at the bottom layer, we have what we call as frameworks and infrastructure. In this layer, you have frameworks like TensorFlow, MXNet, PyTorch, and others, as well as the P2 instances, and so on. So this is for data scientists that also want control over the infrastructure so that they can install the army on an instance and then start running and training their models. And for folks that don't want to maintain the infrastructure or worry about setting up a cluster to train their models and so on, we've got ML services. And as part of that, we have a service called Amazon SageMaker, which lets you build models using a hosted notebook, train it, and then and you can do distributed training, and then deploy it and get an endpoint which your applications can hit without you worrying about the infrastructure. Right? So when you say train, you mention the instance, the number of nodes you want, and it takes care of bringing up the instances and training it for you, and then bringing them down. And then we took the most difficult and common ML problems and built models for them and exposed them as APIs so that developers and data scientists don't have to spend their time building these primitive services, right? So things like image recognition, speech recognition, NLP, text analytics, text-to-speech, translation, natural language understanding. These are all things that have common applicability across use cases. So we spent the effort to build these and make it accessible as easy-to-use APIs. So today, we're going to talk about these 5 services, right? Amazon Transcribe, Amazon Translate, Amazon Poly, Amazon Comprehend, and Amazon Lex. But before I go into each service, I want to give you a broad overview of how customers are using these services together, right? And before I start that, can I get a show of hands? How many of you have heard of at least one or more of these services? Awesome. Great. So in terms of common use cases, we have voice of customer applications, right? So if you have a product and you want to monitor Twitter feed, you want to look at product reviews on your website, you want to look at emails and figure out what is the sentiment, what are the key phrases, what are my customers saying, what are they complaining about, what are they happy about, and how do I improve my product? You can do all sorts of analytics using Comprehend. And then in the contact center, right? So today, you have an antiquated system where you have an IVR which says press 1, press 2, press 3. But if you use something like Lex for a conversational experience, you can just pick up the phone and have a conversation with the chatbot, and it'll ask you questions, try and help you. If it can't, it'll shift you to a human. Right? And then once the human speaks, you want to analyze how your agents are performing. Again, what is the customer feedback? You can do all that by transcribing your audio, your contact center audio, and using Comprehend to analyze that again. Enterprise digital assistants, again, whether it's for internal use or for your sales teams, you can build these chatbots that can answer questions about your HR leave policies, or your finance questions, or for your sales teams to figure out, okay, what's the status with a certain customer, and improve productivity overall. Personalization. So we see a lot of customers, especially in the media content space, that are using Comprehend to analyze the content that their customers are consuming, and then figuring out what topics they're interested in and recommending future content. Knowledge management. So using services like classification, you're able to take a ton of documents and figure out what different categories they need to be put into and manage your knowledge base. Semantic search. So rather than just doing a text search, if you extract entities, index based on them, and search, your search is much more accurate and much more meaningful. Captioning workflows. So you have many media companies. This morning, we had a customer with us, OSN, that are using Transcribe to generate subtitles, as well as to do metadata analysis of video content. Localization. So once you have these subtitles, you want them in different languages. Or you're an e-commerce retailer, and you want your content to be available in many languages. Or you're a global company, and you want your employees that do not speak a common language to be able to interact with each other. So you can use Translate to do all these use cases. Education. So you can use things like Poly or Transcribe to generate lecture notes, or Poly to speak and interact with the customer for modules, for education modules. Accessibility. All these services, very importantly, improve the accessibility of your applications. So let's take our first service, right? How do you make your applications conversational? You use Lex. So Amazon Lex is a service that can be used to build conversational interfaces in both speech and text. So what we did was we took, we have a lot of experience with conversational interfaces based on our experience with Alexa. So we took those learnings and the same technology and started with the speech recognition and NLU technology, and then built out an entire service around it. So we built dialogue management. What we mean by dialogue management is, before I get into dialogue management, I'll just give you a quick primer on what a chatbot is, right? Chatbot's nothing but a collection of intents. So intents are things that your customers want to do. For example, they want to book a ticket, they want to cancel a ticket, they want to check status. These all would be different intents. And then the data that they provide is what we call as slots, right? The date, the location, the destination, all those would be slots. And now, when you have a chatbot, you want it to be able to have a conversation with your customer. And dialogue management helps you do that. It keeps track of what information your customer has given you, what information you're yet to receive, and accordingly, it'll figure out what the prompt should be for your customer. Deployment. So with Lex, we are enabling a truly multi-channel sort of experience for your conversational agent. So once you build your chatbot in Lex, you can have the same chatbot working on Alexa. You'll see a demo later today. You can have the same thing on your website, same thing on your mobile application, or any other platform, because it's an easy-to-use SDK that is just calling an API. It scales automatically. It's a fully managed service, so you don't have to worry about managing servers. The business logic. So the business logic is as important as your conversational flow, right? Because in the end, you have to go reach out into one of your backend services and fetch that data, right? Or if the customer says, perform a transaction, you have to, again, go into one of your services and perform that transaction. So all that business logic can exist either in Lambda, because we have an integration with Lambda. You can write all your logic there, and with one click, just include that as part of Lex. Or if you have that business logic already written, you can use that as a middle layer, and Lex can return back all the parameters that it's collected, right? So it'll have the conversation with your customer, get all the details that are required, and pass those parameters as key value pairs to your business logic, which you can then execute as you normally would. Security. So security is super important for us at AWS. So we have all the standards that you would expect from an AWS service. You can use things like Cognito to manage your users, and so on. Analytics. Super important for chatbots, because when you start off with a chatbot, you sort of, you may do a little bit of user research, talk to some customers, and you figure out, OK, I need to start with these 10 intents that I want to support. And then you go ahead and build that chatbot, you test it, you put it out there. But then you want to see how your customers are really interacting with your chatbot, right? Like, am I really satisfying my customers? Am I answering their questions? Am I helping them get to where they want to be? And analytics helps you do that. So with Lex, we show you all the utterances that came in, those that Lex was able to understand, and those that it was not able to understand, so that you are then able to either add those utterances as samples to existing intents or build new intents to address those use cases. And text-to-speech integration. So we have a service, Poly, that does text-to-speech. So it's integrated into Lex. So you don't have to do multiple API calls. You make one call, and it does speech recognition. It does language understanding. It does the business logic gets executed, and then the text gets converted into voice, and you get that back. So in order to build a good chatbot, you need to follow a few good principles, right? So things like having social intelligence, personality, support for multiple modalities, and ability to support a dynamic conversation. And Lex has tools that help you do all this, right? So for social intelligence, you're able to fetch the user details using Lambda and then address them by their name, use context, sort of refer back to a previous conversation that they've had. Makes the experience so much more enjoyable for your customers. Personality. So you are able to provide multiple prompts for the same use case so that it doesn't sound robotic, right? You don't want your bot to sound robotic. You want to give it a personality, right? So you can give different versions of the same text. And then you can pick different voices, right? So Poly has 7 different voices just for English, so you can pick one of those voices. Modality, so whether it is text or speech or on some platforms like Facebook Messenger, if you want the touch experience, you're able to do all that with Lex. And dynamic conversations. No matter how well you design your bot, there's always going to be some conversations which it's not prepared for. And for those use cases, you need to be able to handle them gracefully, right? So error handling is something that's built into Lex. Some of the common use cases for Lex are contact center bots. So we're integrated with our contact center in the cloud, Amazon Connect. So you can build your IVR on Lex, and then with a single click, add that to your workflow in Amazon Connect. We're also integrated with other providers like Genesys. Informational bots, so for internal use, like I was saying, application bots to do transactions like ordering food or booking tickets, productivity for your Salesforce and so on, and IoT bots. So if you want to voice enable your devices, you can use Lex as well. The next service I'm going to talk about is how do you give your applications a voice? And this is a really simple service, right? It's Amazon Poly, which is our text-to-speech service. It's able to support 57 voices across 28 languages. And it gives you really fine-grained control over the voice. And you're able to load custom vocabularies to pronounce hard-to-get names. And it's HIPAA eligible and available across 17 regions. Talk a little bit about the use cases. So we're seeing customers use it for navigation, for special needs assistant, for language learning, add voice to some presentations, in contact centers along with Lex, as well as for voicing, to convert web pages into podcasts by voicing them. Next service I'm going to talk about helps you extract insights from unstructured text. And that's Amazon Comprehend. So what we do with Comprehend is you pass text into the service, and it's able to extract entities, key phrases, detect the language, extract the sentiment, and also give you a breakdown of the syntax. And we also have a feature called topic modeling, using which you're able to extract the different topics across a wide corpus of text. So entities are things like name, dates, locations, organization name, brand names, and so on. Key phrases would be things like great prices, bad service, nice hotel, and so on. Language, there's a lot of operational use cases. It's not very evident when I say, oh, it can detect the language. Where would you use that, right? So for example, if you are a media company and you have your vendor sending you files in a number of different languages, they claim this file is your German subtitle, and this file is your French subtitles. But how sure are you that they are indeed the language that they say they are, right? What if you believe that and you put the subtitles, and then someone's looking for German subtitles, and they're saying French subtitles at the bottom? So language ID helps you check these files and make sure of high quality. Also, if you have emails of customers across the world coming in, you want to know what language they are in, and you can send them to the right agent to resolve. And then sentiment, of course, we do positive, negative, mixed sentiment. Syntax tells you things like adverbs, adjectives, nouns, and so on. And like I said, topic modeling helps you figure out the topics and group the documents by those topics. We support 6 different languages: English, Spanish, French, German, Italian, and Portuguese. I already covered these use cases, so content personalization, semantic search, data warehouse, intelligent data warehouse, right? So today, analyzing unstructured text is sort of a specialized activity, right? So folks that know NLP are able to do that. But imagine if you build an ETL pipeline that's able to take all your customer comments, find the sentiment, and insert that into another column. You can run SQL queries on it, right? So you can say, give me the count of reviews which had a positive sentiment. And then you could plot that across time and see if there was a change in sentiment over time, right? So it makes it really powerful and makes it very accessible to your day-to-day business analyst who has no idea what NLP is, right? Social analytics, like we spoke about, and information management are 2 other use cases. I want to focus and talk a little bit about the really new features that we just launched over the last couple of weeks, right? So we launched 2 features which do automatic machine learning, right? Custom classification and custom entities. So with these services, what we want to do is allow customers to train their own machine learning models without getting into the nitty-gritties of algorithms and cleaning data and so on. So with custom classification, what you do is, let's say you want to try out support tickets, right? And you have different categories, right? You have pricing-related tickets, cancel account-related, and loyalty program-related. And you would pick examples, like 50 examples for each label, and you would load that into our custom classification capability. And it'll train a model for you based on the type of data. So we take care of picking the right model, because short text requires different characteristics. Longer text requires different characteristics. So we pick the right algorithm for you, tune it, train it to the right accuracy. And then from then onwards, every ticket you send, it will label it with one of the labels that you uploaded. Right? So imagine the sort of use cases you could do. You could do content moderation, right? If you have different categories, you just train with examples, and it'll it'll label that, so then you can filter or control what sort of content's on your website. You can organize customer feedback or support calls. Custom entities. So this is another capability where there's plenty of NLP services out there which will extract a set of entities. But we heard a lot of feedback from our customers saying, hey, you do these 10 entities, that's great, that's very useful for us. But we also have custom needs, like an insurance company may want to extract policy numbers, or a legal company wants to extract judge names or case names, and so on. So for those use cases, we build custom entity, again, which it automates your machine learning, right? So right from your selecting the right algorithm to tuning it and testing it, we take care of everything. All you do is give us a list of entity, the text that you're interested in, and a bunch of documents that contain those entities. But if you're a more advanced user and you already have documents that have been annotated, we take that too, as long as it's in a format that we're able to ingest. And then we train the service. We give you like an endpoint, and then from then on, you pass text, and we extract the entities that you're interested in. So here's an example where the part number is something that regular comprehend may not extract, right? But you're able to extract it because you built a custom entity. Next service I'm going to talk about is how do you make your applications listen, right? And that's using Amazon Transcribe. This is our speech recognition service. It takes audio files and returns a JSON with the transcription. So we support a wide variety of media formats. So with audio, you get different quality, right? So you got the telephony audio, which is 8 kilohertz audio, which is low fidelity, which is really hard to transcribe. And then, of course, you have your rich content, which could be media files or video content or movies and so on. And we're able to perform with high accuracy across all these different types of audio. And we pay special attention to telephony audio because we hear from a lot of our customers that they're sitting on millions of minutes of recorded audio, and they have no way to analyze this. Right? So their contact center manager listens to maybe 2% of the calls, and the rest of that audio just sits there. So what they're doing is transcribing all this audio and then running it through Comprehend. So that's one of the features. And then we accept WAV, MP3, FLAC, MP4, different formats. We're integrated with S3. So if you have your audio already sitting in S3, you can just give us the link. We'll pick up the audio, transcribe it, and you can also provide a link where you want us to put the transcript. So it's completely secure. The data is back in your bucket, and you get to process that. We're integrated with Amazon CloudWatch, really important for batch use cases, right? So you kick off these jobs to process all your audio, but you want to know when your job finishes so that you can kick off downstream processes like analyzing with Comprehend and so on. And you can use CloudWatch to keep track of the job status. Amazon, and again, AWS CloudTrail to track usage of your service. Some of the key features I'd like to talk about for Transcribe are custom vocabulary. Right? So no matter how much we train it, you're always going to have specific needs that are specific to your domain. Right? For example, let's take finance or insurance or education, right? So, and even in education, you will have many subjects, right? Like biology, chemistry. And you will have domain-specific terms that the speech recognition engine may not accurately transcribe. So for that, what you can do is load these terms as part of a custom vocabulary. And these act as hints to the speech recognition engine. Speaker identification. So if you have audio that has more than one speaker, you're able to identify the speaker based on the voice. Channel identification. So in contact center use cases, what we see is that the audio is recorded in multi-channel. So the agent is speaking on a channel, and the customer is speaking on a different second channel. So in those cases, in the days past, what customers would do is run each channel separately so that they want to analyze what the customer is saying separate from what the agent is saying, right? So they'll run each of those separately and end up paying, let's say you have a 30-minute call, they would run each channel, which is 30 minutes, although a lot of it would be silence, right? So they end up paying double the price. Even today with many services, that's what they do. But with Transcribe, you can just load one file. We take care of splitting that audio, cutting off the silence, transcribing it, labeling it, putting that back together, and returning one nicely formatted JSON back to you, and we charge you the same price as a single 30-minute audio, right? So there's cost savings there. Punctuation and capitalization. Really useful when you have large amounts of text to have capitals, full stops, apostrophes, commas, and so on. Makes it much more readable. Word-level timestamps. So especially in cases where you're coaching your contact center agents or you are searching through video, right? You're doing analytics on your video and you want to go to a certain point in the video where a word was said, you're able to do that with word stamps, timestamps, because you just click on it, it goes to that exact spot in the video. And then confidence scores. So in cases where you want really high 100% accuracy and you want a human to look at it, confidence scores are super useful so that you can only focus on the low confidence scores and reduce the time that a human takes to review this text. Languages supported today on Amazon Transcribe are US English, UK English, Australian English, Canadian French, and US Spanish. And we're going to be working on many more new languages in the coming months. And that was for batch. And then we recently launched streaming capability, right? So this opens up many more new use cases for you. So imagine, the agent speaking to the customer, and as the call is happening, it's getting transcribed, right? Or you want to have dictation use cases where you just keep speaking and you want the text to get transcribed. So it enables many different use cases. And you can start tracking sentiment as a call is happening. And we use HTTP 2.0, so it does bidirectional streaming for you. Some of the common use cases, as I've mentioned before, there's media, subtitling use case, there's contact center analytics, meeting minutes, especially for industries like finance, where they want to record all the different meetings and for compliance purposes. Court depositions, so if you have legal proceedings that have been recorded and you want to create transcriptions of those so that lawyers or paralegals can search through that and find the cases that are interesting to them, you can do that. And Transcribe is a HIPAA-eligible service as well. Let me do a quick demo of our streaming capability.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paul. I am the product manager for Amazon's automatic speech recognition service. I would like to take this opportunity to show you a quick demonstration of our cool new feature called streaming transcription. We've built a neat little sample application to showcase just how easy it is to use our service to open a bidirectional connection. You can securely pass a stream of audio to our service, and in return, we send you a stream of text transcription in real time. As you can see from the output window, our transcription occurs in real time. The machine learning models in the backend intelligently use the additional context to augment text output. Streaming transcription makes it easy for developers to add real-time speech-to-text capabilities to their applications.
As you can see, the text is being punctuated, right? So it got the name of the person right, like P is capital. It even gets the apostrophe, Amazon's, apostrophe S. A lot of really complex words spoken at a good pace. It's able to transcribe quite accurately. This is sort of the architecture diagram or more of a schematic of how customers use all these services that we spoke about so far for a contact center use case, right? So we have Amazon Connect, which is our contact center in the cloud. We have Amazon Lex, Poly for the IVR. And then once a human does the call, you're able to transcribe it, analyze the transcript using Comprehend, and then pass it to analytics services like QuickSight or whatever other tool that you'd like to use. The last service I'll be covering is, helps you make your applications multilingual, and that's Amazon Translate. It's a fully managed and continuously trained neural machine translation service that translates text from one language to another. You'd have noticed that for all our services, we stress on the term continuously trained, and that's because you may use our service today, and then you use it a few weeks later, you'll see that it's giving you better accuracy, right? Whether it's speech recognition or translation or text analytics. And that's because we're constantly improving on these services. We've invested in teams that keep annotating new data, and then retraining the models to keep improving that over time for our customers. And that's an advantage of using our API-based services because you don't have to invest in all that, right? We take care of that for you to keep it up to date. So the key here for Amazon Translate is the fact that we use this technology called neural machine translation. So this is a relatively newer technology that's come up in the last few years that has given significant gains in the accuracy of translation, right? How many of you in years past have used a tool like one of those open source free websites to translate? Right, and you've seen the results of that, right? So they'll try to translate each word, and the results are really funny. With neural machine translation, it takes the context and it translates entire sentences, so the result is much more fluent. So don't trust me, I'll just show you how it actually works, right? So this is a pocket knife that's on sale on our Amazon.de website, right? It's got 87 tools and offers 141 functions, guaranteed. Seems like a really cool pocket knife. So we took one of the customer quotes and said, OK, what would an old-fashioned tool that's out there generate for translation? So this is what came up, right? Really a very good pocket knife. Had yesterday after breakfast something poppy hang between the teeth. Because I once again found no toothpicks, I ordered mine without further ado, this pocket knife. The integrated toothpick, NR3, is very stable and very quickly I could clean my teeth. Super. To the rest, I can tell nothing. Unfortunately, because I am not B emergency, right? So most of it makes no sense, but you sort of get the idea of what they're trying to say. And then we ran the same thing through Amazon Translate, right? Really a very good pocket knife. Had a little poppy between the teeth yesterday after breakfast. Since I didn't find a toothpick again, I ordered this pocket knife shortly. The integrated toothpick, number 3, is very stable, and I could clean my teeth very quickly. Great. I can't say anything about the rest because I don't need it, right? So much more fluent and so much more natural. So what this does is opens up so many new use cases, right? Imagine that every one of your employees can now speak 21 languages, right? That's what Translate does for you, right? That opens up so many new use cases like real-time chat, employees being able to understand text, read documents in multiple languages, search through text. Data security is another thing that Translate provides. So there were some cases in the past where we saw news about some company uploading their confidential documents into like a site on the web for translation, and that being available across. So we take security really seriously. It's priced very economically, so you can use translation at scale. We handle tags so that the formatting is retained, and it's easy to use with simple API. And we just launched 8 new languages, and that's how we're at 21 languages right now. And we'll continue to keep adding more languages in the coming months. And Translate is also HIPAA eligible. So talking about use cases, I touched upon a few of these, being able to access data in multiple languages, search across many languages, subtitling, localization of subtitles, helping serve your customers either through chat or through email. If you have one set of folks that speak maybe just English, you can just use them to serve customers across the world in Arabic, in German, in whatever other language. And you will have some use cases where you need 100% accuracy, right? Like on your user interface or your marketing materials, where you may want a human to take a look at it. Even those use cases, you can use Translate first and then have a human post-edit it. So it still reduces cost for you. And now Hira, who's our solution architect, is going to come up on stage and show you a quick demo of all these applications in action.
Hey, guys. Let's switch over to the demo laptop, please. So I heard there was some kind of a pub crawl today. Do you guys know about this thing? And you're still here. I have to say thank you. All right, so I have literally 5 minutes, and I don't want to hold you guys up. So I have two things to show you. One of them is this thing, and the next thing is a recorded video, so it should be relatively short. But what I'd love for you to get out of this is one of the ways in which you can address contact center or call center use cases. So what you're seeing on this screen, and I'm not expecting you to read every word, but what you're seeing on the screen is one of the ways in which you can use the output of both transcribe as well as comprehend to make more sense of, for example, a call transcript. So one of the things Vikram was talking about earlier is you can get two-channel audio with, for example, the likes of Amazon Connect, right? So Amazon Connect is the software-defined call center offering that AWS provides. Whether it's that kind of audio or other kind of audio, the point is if you've got caller on the left, agent on the right, that kind of thing, what you can do is you can splice that audio back together after transcribe, and then you can start asking questions. You can say, why are people calling us? How often do we resolve their question in the first contact? One of the typical things that I've heard from companies in this case is, can you tell me how many times people call with just a query or a question versus how many times the agent actually has to do something? Those are the kinds of things that with a transcript you can get. Today what happens is people have to do all this post-call homework. And in the post-call homework, the agent generally takes a few minutes to say, this was the disposition of the call, here's what we talked about, and here's how I was able to solve the problem. One of the benefits of doing something like this is A, your data is more accurate, B, the agents like you because you don't make them do all that extra work. So let's take a look at what this is doing. This is an output natively from Transcribe. What we're doing here is we're taking that Transcribe output, putting it through a Node.js script, and it's giving us text that we can then play back. So I'm just going to play some of this audio for you.
Perfect. And how may I help you today?
I'm just trying to print the balance sheet and nothing prints.
So what that allows us to do then is to see, and the left over here is showing you a sense of sentiment, right? So take that transcript, put it through Amazon Comprehend, which gives you polarity of positive, negative, mixed, and neutral. And then I can quickly, as somebody who's looking at this transcript, say, hey, it ends in green. I'm in a good place, right? If it ends in red, in that inevitable, hey, what else can I help you with today? Well, you didn't help me at all. I wish I wasn't talking to you, right? That's something you'd help find and fix, hopefully. As a quick thing, the other thing that you can do is you can pull up entities. What are people calling about? And notice that now that you can do custom entities, you can look for things that are very specific to a particular kind of business, right? So the idea, again, is you don't use one of these services. The transcribe drop in the bucket, in an S3 bucket, for example, then triggering off the transcribe job that gives you a JSON file. That JSON file then is run through the likes of Comprehend or Translate or whatever you need to produce this kinds of output. Now, for individual calls, this is fine. Somebody can drill down into it. But for aggregate, it might make a whole lot more sense to use the likes of Athena and Redshift or Elasticsearch or Kibana, right? Because then you have that full loop of, I have these calls happening, I have the audio data for it, and I also have the corresponding text analytics that I can then use to go do feedback, right? Now, we have Amazon Transcribe with streaming. So given that we have streaming, the question is, can you do that in real time? And like I said, we don't have a lot of time, but I just want to play this 30-second clip for you, and I'll explain how this works.
Hi there.
Hello.
Welcome to the Agent Assist experience. I'd like to find the best person to assist you. How can we help you today?
I'm just tired of seeing all these late fees on my bill. I need to talk to a person.
Thank you. Let me find someone.
So what you're seeing, if you missed it, on that left side where it says Agent Assist in the big React.js logo, and I'll explain why I use that in a minute, you'll see that the text turns red. And the reason it's turning red is because we're using Transcribe real time so that it's streaming the audio, and then it's using that audio to go through Comprehend and bring that audio back to this client. Now, how many of you have tried out AWS Amplify? Awesome. AppSync, anybody? If you haven't played with it, I swear you will not be disappointed. It is an awesome thing to play with. One of the things that I found really cool was I have this transcribed streaming audio going into a DynamoDB database one segment at a time, right? Each of these things is one sentence or one segment. Each of those entries gets into the database. It makes a post call to announce it in terms of AppSync. What AppSync can then do is to broadcast that to all of the connected clients. And what you're seeing on the right here in the JavaScript is that you're seeing the update call come through in pretty much real time. The delay, for the most part, the roughly 5-second delay, is the streaming delay, or the streaming transcript delay. The demos with DynamoDB and the AppSync broadcast that I noticed were less than a second. So what was really cool for me was being able to see not just the data come through from DynamoDB to each of the connected clients that care, but also then turning around and doing some kind of augmentation of that data. And if you haven't seen them, just last week, the team announced these pipeline resolvers that would actually make this use case a whole lot easier. So I know I'm here to show you some of the other services, but if you haven't already played with AppSync, you certainly should do that as well. But at the end of it, what I'm hoping you get is that when it comes to these services, what's really interesting is how they ultimately work together, right? We'll often hear about customers who say, well, I use this, but it doesn't do this. And you'll often hear somebody like me offer up, well, there's a corresponding service that does it. Here's a solution that fits together. Not just yet, but in the next, I'd say, month or so, we hope to make this thing available as a GitHub repo that you can then pick up and play with on your own, right? So again, thank you for giving me this time. I'm going to ask Raj from Abbott Labs and Rao to come up and talk to us a little bit about what they've been able to do with the chatbot side of things. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
You want slides?
Slides, yeah.
Could we get the slides up, please?
Hi, good evening. I'm Raj. I am a digital marketing leader at Abbott. We're a healthcare company. And today I'm going to talk about how we're using AI and machine learning services internally to improve some of the experiences we have, especially when it comes to data analytics. Can we get the slides? Okay. Oh, there it is. So let me talk to you about the company I work for. With a show of hands, how many people here know Abbott? Okay, a handful. And how many people know Abbott as a pharmaceutical company? Okay, same number of hands. Actually, we are not a pharmaceutical company anymore. We used to be. In 2013, we spun off AbbVie, which became the pharma company. We are a health technology company. And we are more than 130 years old. And obviously, we have evolved over the last 130 years. We are in 150 countries. And there are 99,000 colleagues of mine working around the world, making sure that our hearts are healthy. We are providing nourishment for the body through science-based approaches. We are helping people move better and feel better. And then we have timely information and medicines to make our health better as well. We have leading brands virtually in every market we serve. And this is important because as you see the products, it's not a pharmaceutical list of products. We make life-changing technology products. On the left, what you see is products for the heart. We make stents. We make pacemakers. We make remote sensing heart equipment. We even make heart pumps. Heart pumps are used. It's a heart-made product for people who are awaiting a transplant. And this heart pump keeps them alive until they get a donor heart. From the diabetes area, we are the leading providers of remote continuous glucose monitoring system. And what it is a patch that you put on your arm, and you can scan and measure your blood sugar continuously at any time of the day. Our Alinity next-generation lab systems are much faster, they're cloud-ready, and they can do tests on blood much more effectively. And then finally, our household products like Ensure, Glucerna, Pedialyte, I'm sure many of you are familiar with. We also market those products. So when in 2013, we spun off AbbVie, we became a new company. We had a new purpose. We had a new portfolio, a new focus. And there was a major corporate brand building effort that was launched at Abbott because we were no longer a pharmaceutical company. And I just saw a show of hands here saying, oh, we're still a pharmaceutical company. That means we got more work to do. As a part of that brand building effort, the downstream impact of that was we had to relaunch our external facing websites. Now, Abbott has more than 400 to 500 websites, but we focused on the most strategic, high-value websites. We're talking about the top 100 plus websites. So we launched them, we redesigned them. We not only launched them in different languages and markets, we also launched them with integrated dashboards, BI dashboards, to make sure that our employees and people who are managing these websites are keeping them healthy and richer. But we had a problem. The problem was, while we were very happy and successful with the launch of these websites, we were not satisfied with the level of engagement and the traction we were getting with these websites. We're never satisfied. We definitely want more engagement, more people coming and interacting and having higher conversion. On top of that, the dashboards, which were supposed to help keep these websites in check, were not being utilized. The reason? Because they were clunky, too many KPIs, too many charts, and because of that, there was also limited interpretation of insights that was available from these dashboards. And as a result of that, management was not also on top of the data that was available because there was a barrier of this information being provided back and forth through these dashboards. So what we did was, we asked the question, could we use AI to solve this problem? And instead of having people to access the data through the dashboard, could we use a simple voice-based interface where we can get the same information in a much easier, simpler customer experience? And not only that, rather than having to look for insights within the dashboard, could AI predict and give the insights in a timely manner? And yes, we are doing this to make better and faster decisions. We want to double the increase in usage of the data that's available from these websites. We are focused on making faster decisions, and as a net result of that, we want healthier websites which have two times the improvement in customer engagement. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Abby. Abby stands for Abbott Business Intelligence Bot, and it's our first voice-based interface for accessing data. And I hope it works, because I'm going to give you a live demo. Okay, can you see the screens? Could we get the screens? The demo screen? Could we get the demo screen, please? So while I'm having the conversation, you should be able to see the data that's available there. Alexa, launch Abby.
Hi, I am Abby. I am the first Abbott BI bot developed by corporate. I can provide you website performance for over 100 plus corporate and divisional websites globally. You can ask me any questions on website traffic, engagement, search, quality, and satisfaction.
How are you today?
I am doing good. It's been a while we have been connected.
Refresh context.
Context has been reset.
What's my website engagement score?
Great. I can do that, but first, which division are you interested in?
Corporate.
Good. And for which country are you looking for?
US.
Awesome. For which time frame would you like the value for?
July.
Please wait. Engagement score for corporate for US in July. 6.5 out of 10. Website engagement score is below benchmark. Please check the following. Minutes per visit.
What's the average pages per visit?
All right. Pages per visit for corporate for US in July. 1.9. Pages visited on your website has increased 1.20% compared to the previous month. It is on upward trend.
What's my customer satisfaction score?
Sorry, I didn't understand that. Ask again.
What's my customer satisfaction score?
All right. Customer satisfaction score for corporate for US in July. 6.8 out of 10.
What's my SEO score?
Sorry, I didn't understand that. Ask again.
What's my SEO score?
Please wait. SEO score for corporate for US in July. 3 out of 10. You might also have to check at the website traffic.
How many organic users visit my site?
Okay, I am on it. Organic users for corporate for US in July. 291,805. Organic users visited your website has increased 8.92% compared to the previous month. It is on upward trend.
What is the total traffic to my site?
Okay. Total visits for corporate for US in July. 381,085. Total visits to your site has increased 5.03% compared to the previous month. It is on upward trend.
How about UK?
Give me a second. Total visits for corporate for UK in July. 10,753. Total visits to your site has increased 11.98% compared to the previous month. It is on upward trend.
What are the top 5 keywords driving traffic to my site?
All right. Top 5 keywords for corporate for UK in July.
How about diagnostics?
Good. And for which country are you looking for?
International?
Please wait. Top 5 keywords for diagnostics for global in July.
Any final advice?
Yes. Remember to check in with me monthly and monitor your website performance.
What else can you do?
If you train me, I can help with the following. Be a data assistant for performance reporting and predicting trends, meeting or task reminder, a conversational competitive intelligence tool, and a conversational Abbott voice to improve customer experience at key events.
Goodbye.
Catch you later. Let me know if you require any more information.
All right, it did work. Thank you to these guys. Yeah, I think I just wanted to, first of all, it was a live demo. The data that was being accessed was for 120 websites across 26 different regions of the world. It had 2 years of data. I just picked July because I didn't want to disclose the latest data. And for each website, we have 4 to 5 sources of data. Technical quality, we have conversion, SEO, traffic, customer satisfaction. And you could see how easy it was for me to switch from one country to other country. I could switch time period. If I had to do the same exercise manually in dashboards, it would take me 3 times more effort than this. So we are launching these in different markets. There are 8 new initiatives that are following this, and we're quite pleased with this, and thanks to SmartBots.
Thank you, Raj. Can you shift to presentation, please? Thank you. I would like to introduce SmartBots, how we build this platform to build more human-like bots, to make the bot building experience more easy. So here, I would like to quickly give a background of what SmartBots is. SmartBots is a bot building platform where you can build, deploy, test, and manage your bots. So the core focus of SmartBots is to enable developers and enterprise to build not just any other bot, but build a stable bot. So the features that involved in this platform are the ready-made enterprise skills, where you can quickly deploy the bots with existing enterprise skills like sales, HR, finance, etc. The enterprise connectors, there are ready-made enterprise connectors available on the platform, like on the Salesforce, Workday, et cetera. And the platform is API-driven, so you can virtually connect this to any application through an API. We also have bot analytics, bot training, and bot testing to basically check the health of the bot and train the bot, make it more intelligent. We also have omni-channel connectors, so which means you can build the bot at one place and deploy it across Slack, Skype, Alexa, as you have seen. And we also have custom AI ML models based on the use case. You can build your own ML models to train the bot. Now, how did we do all this? Well, we used a lot of Amazon services to build smart bots. So in the next few slides, I'm going to explain what are the services and how you can leverage other services of Amazon, not just the Lex, to make a smart and stable bot. So the business challenge we were thrown at was that there were a lot of data silos and the navigation was complex, and there's dependency on SMEs to access data to make critical decisions. So we were able to solve it by creating smart and conversational and simple and intuitive UI, and most importantly, a bot that was able to behave and analyze human-like and throw recommendations. So the architecture, so I'll run through the services in detail in the next few slides, but what we have done is so you can access the bot through a mobile or voice or a chat, and when you are passing a query, it passes through the SmartBot services, which in turn triggers and leverages a lot of Amazon services like Lex, Comprehend, Dynamo, DB, and eventually hits Domo, from which we have fetched the data through a Lambda call. So in the next few slides, I'm going to show what it makes to make a really stable bot, smart bot. And these are the core modules that we built on our platform, leveraging Amazon services. So for any bot to be smart, I think I would be touching 4 important modules, which is intent orchestrator, response handler, context handler, and smart learner. How do you make a bot more proactive than reactive? So how do we try to make it more human-like? How is an active bot different from a passive bot, right? So in order to analyze that, what we did is we started digging into what else can the bot prompt a user to engage into conversation, for which we have developed 3 approaches. Again, no one approach is right or wrong. You need to pick the right use case to choose one of this approach. The first one is rigid tree structure. As the name suggests, the rigid tree structure is when an intent is fulfilled, what is the next intent? So the next intent would be basically flown or driven from the business logic. The second approach is intent cluster approach. So this is the approach we use for Abby. So in this approach, what we do is we cluster similar intents under one bucket. So when one intent is fulfilled, the next intent that has to be suggested is picked up from the bucket in which the intent is closest associated to. And of course, the third approach is reinforcement learning, where the bot acts as an agent. Based on the reward it gets from the user, it chooses the next intent. Now, all 3 approaches can be adopted based on the respective use cases, based on the number of intents you're creating. The second is response handler. So as you have seen, the data that was fetched from Domo, it passes through a lot of logic in interpreting the query. So every time you're connecting a query to a backend system, as developers, I'm sure we all appreciate that there's fair amount of coding required to understand the data. So we need to build a service to to consume the slot, and then hit the right API from the backend, and then pull the information and compose it and push it in the front end. So what we have done is we have built our own markup language where this can be scripted very easily. So in this case, when we are asking for an SEO score, the response parser understands the script. I've shown the script on the bottom left, and consumes the values and pushes this to a system call, which hits the API and pulls the information, and the response builder consumes it and pushes it to the end user. The next is context. So here, what we have done is we have created a global and local context. So it's very important that when you're engaging with the bot, for the bot to remember the context. So can we push to the, switch to the demo screen, please? Okay. So I'll just wind up with this. So in this case, what we are trying to show here is when the bot
bounce rate for corporate for UK in April, 36.68%.
So in this case, when you're asking for the bounce rate, the bot understands the context from which you are pulling it, and then so when you're asking for the organic users, the bot understands that you're
organic users for corporate for UK in April, 16,190. Organic users visited your website has increased 6.97% compared to the previous month. It is on upward trend.
I think we can cut it there. So can you switch to the presentations? So in this example, if you see that the bot understands that you're sticking to the context of UK, and it fetches the relevant information. So in the lack of time, I'll try to wrap it up. If anybody has any specific questions, you can take it offline. Smart learner, so it's important that there's a lot of data hidden when you're analyzing the logs. So the data does not have to be absolute, whether it has been passed or failed. You can derive a lot of conclusions or informations from incomplete conversations. You can use Amazon Services Comprehend to analyze the negative responses and actionable responses when you're training the bot. And of course, you can use SageMaker to choose the right algorithm that would fit for training your bot. So how AWS made Abby special? We used a lot of services of AWS. For example, we used Cognito for authentication. We used DynamoDB to handle the contextual data. We used Lambda to make server-side calls. We used EC2 to where SmartBots is core hosted. And we used SageMaker to train the data, and we used Comprehend to analyze the mood of the person who is interacting with the bot and accordingly compose the replies. So with this, I would like to end my presentation, and if anybody has any questions, you can reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Apologies for going a little over. Please don't forget to fill out the feedback, and we'll be right outside. If you guys have questions, we're happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.